absolutely.
What did you think about the experience of coming in and doing those two songs?
I thought it was awesome. It's kind of one of those things that I'm sure that other people say the same answer, but you never get a chance to see or get to play with these guys and gal, and but you see them playing all the time, and it's like, oh, yeah, I think it'd be cool to play with you. It was an honor, just awesome. And Brian called me when they told us what songs we were going to do. I was kind of like, okay, all right, how are we going to pull off this or whatever? And Brian called me. He's like, yeah, I think I got an idea for a couple of these songs, and we just kind of ran with it. So it was kind of his brainchild there to take the songs and kind of flip them around and do. So it was a lot of fun. It was just a cool thing just to kind of step back and listen to everybody else play.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool.
So that's basically what you guys did. Yeah, to prepare, you got together.
Yeah, we got together once, and Brian said, "Well, I'm just hearing like I think it'd be cool if we, because the chord progression to that Dolly song is really close to like a Carole King, Phil Spector mid '60s sort of thing. He's like,
right.
What if we did this? And we tried it, and I think it worked really well. I thought it was a super cool idea. I'm not sure what else I would have done to try to play the song the exact same way, but that's what I like about this too, is everyone kind of puts their own little twist on things,
Well, you guys really turned it around, because I know. Yeah,
it was a little. Yeah, it was super cool, and I think the idea was try not to get too cartoony with it. Like we could have gone even more, but it's like I thought it ended up working out pretty well. It was cool.
Because with me actually getting to hear what you were doing, like when you first started doing the. Like Stevie Nicks and the Tom Petty.
Oh yeah, right.
I was like, it was kind of like the intro, so I was waiting for that, on the bell, and
exactly,
and then to start in, and then I was like,
whoa, and then
this is different.
Like,
and I really did like
man,
that.
and he just.
And also when you guys started in on when you started on the Dolly Parton song.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait, that sounds familiar. I mean,
I was like,
because nobody said let's run through it or anything. And I was
right.
like, that has the same.
Oh, okay, I see what
cool.
they
I mean,
did
you guys
there.
just completely turned that around. Well,
it was cool.
In retrospect of talking about those two songs, was there one that you enjoyed more so working on than the other? Or?
It was weird when Scott first called me. I thought for sure I would like the Stevie Nicks more, just because. How are we going to do I Will Always Love You? It's like, it's this huge thing, I mean, with whether we're going to do Dolly or if we're going to do like the Whitney, I was like, man, how, I know Maddie is awesome, but, to do Whitney Houston, it's tough, right? Mm-hmm. And she killed it, by the way. But, so I ended up thinking like the Tom Petty would be the one because it's a little bit more in my vein,
Mm-hmm.
But after hearing Brian's idea about the, the kind of Phil Spector-ish kind of idea, that one ended up being more fun to play, but I love that groove that Rick was doing on the Tom Petty one too. So, man, who knows?
Well, thank you so much for actually coming and being
Thanks
a part of this. We
me.
appreciate it.
I loved it.
So, what did you think of the experience as a whole coming in doing episode 4?
Well, I was a little bit kind of not nervous, but I didn't know what to think because I had never played with any of these guys before, and I'd never met Brian or Dave. But then, once we got together and talked and, kind of decided what we were going to do, it was like, okay, this is going to be fun, it's going to be cool, and I was excited. So
what did you guys do something special to prepare for this?
Can I say that we practiced?
Yeah, you can say it.
Well, Lance made me feel all bad. He was like, you guys cheated. You can't practice. So I didn't know if that was the thing. But anyway.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, Brian had a couple ideas to do, to switch up the arrangements of the songs and stuff. So he got together and said he'd been thinking about it for a while and told us what he had in mind. And we just put it all together and made it happen.
Cool.
So, which I thought that was actually a pretty cool take on all the songs.
Yeah,
so.
From what I heard, they were quite different. So
Yeah,
I was very impressed.
yeah.
Out of the two songs, was there one that you felt that you preferred more so than the other? I mean, one that you
Definitely.
liked more?
Definitely Stop
felt
Dragging My
more
Heart Around.
control. Okay.
Yeah, the Stevie Nicks one for sure, and Tom Petty. The other one was just a little more out of my comfort range.
Was it a little intimidating?
A little bit. I mean, Whitney Houston sings it, but yeah, it was all right. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be after we.
You know, it was really
rearranged it.
funny when we were actually choosing the songs. I threw that one out there. I Will Always Love You, and I was actually joking.
Oh man!
But we sat there and thought about it, and it was just like, who? Yeah,
Oh
you bring Maddie
boy.
here to do that.
Well, yeah, I don't think it ended up too
and
bad.
you guys
so.
did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I mean, you really turned it upside down. And
Yeah, I was really. I was kind of dreading it at first, and I shouldn't say that. And then after he came up with a different arrangement of it, I was like, okay, this really isn't all
It's
that
safe.
bad. So, yeah.
Good band roll.
Well, Rick, thanks so much for coming in and being a part of
Great to be here, Corby.
episode 4
Yeah, man.
of the Basement Tapes.
Yeah, great to be here.
What did you think about the whole experience?
Oh, it was awesome because I knew going in that here's people I'd never played with before, but that's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just the beauty of doing something like this because you get to collaborate, you get to meet people, make new friends, have a
Yes.
different experience.
Very important.
Treat some songs in an unusual kind of way. I knew that was going to happen, so yeah.
Yeah.
I really didn't come in with any expectations,
Mm-hmm.
just to have a good time and, you know, play music. Yeah.
So what did you guys have to do to prepare?
Well, we all knew what songs we were doing,
Mhm.
and Brian Cutright took the impetus and had some ideas about how we should treat these two songs. So we had conversations on the phone about how the song should feel. Let's sort of do a switch up, you know, take one of these tunes and do a totally different thing to it and a totally different feel. So I had thought about that quite a bit before we got together to rehearse both songs, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not really knowing how that was all going to come together until we got together, and it was just right from the get-go. It just felt really good.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it was nice.
Out of the two songs that you guys did you like or prefer one over the other? Or?
Well, I would have to say that the Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty tune, and only because I just love that kind of feel, that sort of...
You mean the way that you did it or the original?
The way that we put it together,
Okay.
I think, between those two songs.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about the way that we put it together.
Okay.
I like that one, just because of the feel of it. I really like that kind of slow, torchy groove kind of thing. You know, it's always been one of my things that I listen to for drummers. You know, the ghost note approach. Bernard
Right.
Purdy, Jeff
Ooh,
Porcaro.
Pretty Purdy.
Oh yeah,
Score.
Purdy. He's a nutbag, but man, dude can play.
I know how to be
You
a
know.
Pretty Purdy album.
Some of that stuff that he does, the shuffles, and Jeff Porcaro does the same kind of stuff. You know, he's so, you know, being able to do that kind of feel, you know, with a lot of nuance and leaving a lot of space, but still being able to put some things in that, you know, that feel really good and make the song, you know, sort of make the song breathe. You know.
Right.
That was,
What I also liked about that, hearing you play, it was like, you know, if we just put the song out there, everybody heard it, they'd still be like, oh, that's Rick's now. That's why I like this. You know what's going on back there.
That's funny.
Well, we invited you. Well, Brian, thank you for coming in to be a part of
My pleasure,
episode
my
4.
Well, it's an honor to come in and do this. Really is.
Well, again, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. What did you think of the whole experience?
From beginning to end.
Distill that into words.
From beginning to end, it was really cool. I mean, from the approach that you took, giving us the ideas for the songs beforehand, so we could think about what approach we wanted to take, to coming into the studio and everybody just having everything set up and ready to go. It was really cool. I just walked in, plugged in, sat down, and everybody had an idea of what they wanted to do and the way that they wanted to approach it, not only musically but video-wise too. You guys are like, okay, we know what we want to do. And it's such a professional thing to do whenever you sit down and all of a sudden, there it is. It's just right there. It's great.
I heard you talking about that in the studio room over
Yeah.
there. So what did you guys have to do to prepare?
Well, really, we were scratching our heads for a good long time about the songs, because the songs are iconic. They set their own tone a lot, in this case especially. So I was trying to draw ideas from different places. Okay, what could we do with these songs? What can we do with these songs? And everybody's drawing a blank. Nobody had any real ideas, and we're communicating that they had any ideas. So I started thinking, okay, what was it like when you were growing up, and what influences did you have then?
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up with Rosemary Clooney, Nat King Cole. My dad was always playing stuff like that. I started thinking about some of the ways that you could approach something, and torch songs and different types of things, and then the melody line for the first song kind of lent itself to a sort of a torch thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also grew up listening to things like Steely Dan and stuff like that, so I said, okay, let's meld all these things together and see if we can come up with a nice, sexy way of doing it. And that's the approach that I took whenever I brought it to the guys. I called the other guys, started to say, hey, give me a ring, I want to talk to you about it. Talked to Dave first and then to Rick, and they said, hey, it sounds good to us, let's give it a try in the rehearsal. So we went to the rehearsal and we tried it in the rehearsal. The other one was, I was listening to a Carole King song, and I noticed that the chord progression to the Carole King song was pretty much a lot like the second song. So I was like, well, we could do it like a Carole King tune. And then I started listening. Right after that, they had a Ronnie Spector tune come on. And I said, that's where we can go with it. We can make it very, very much a wall of sound type thing.
Cool.
And I called the guys, I called Dave. This is before I talked to Rick. I called Dave back and said, hey, and I have an idea for the second song too. And I approached him. He's like, oh, these sound like they're great ideas. Let's just do it. And then I called Rick, and when I told Rick about it, he goes, I already have some ideas. I have ideas. There's an old Steely Dan tune that I can draw from, and he drew from a couple different ideas, and then when we got together and actually rehearsed it, it took on a life of its own. It was like, okay, yeah, these are similar to the approaches that we're having, and we're not straying too far from where the songs are. That was important, because these songs, you have to stay close to the best on
Mm-hmm.
what the songs were like. So that's kind of how it all came to be. It was definitely a comedy of errors, because we were all just sitting there, and it just one thing. If I hadn't heard that Carole King song, or if I hadn't, had the right thought process in mind at the time, I don't think that we would have maybe taken this approach to it. And I dig what we did.
Well, with you switching things around for both songs, was there one that you preferred working on, or that seemed a little easier? Or
I liked
one more difficult, or
I
anything?
liked both songs for its own merit. I mean, they both have great melody lines, which are very, very important. So to me, it was like, okay, we can, as long as we keep true to that melody line, as long as we keep true to what the approach of the song originally was in its most basic ingredient, then we can expand, and we can do something a little different with it and just twist it a bit. And that was, I enjoyed them both, because I got a chance to put on my arranger hat. And I never, I don't do that very often,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the songs that when you play out in a band, you play them pretty close to form.
Right.
So, it's nice to be able to arrange something a little different.
And from what I witnessed, you guys tore it up.
Yeah, and the guys, when they came into the rehearsal hall, man, it just made different things come to life that maybe wouldn't have been exactly the same if I'd have done it all myself too. So I kind of look at it as a conglomerate, as a group effort as far as the arrangement goes. Because once we got in the rehearsal, it was like, okay, each person brought different things to the table. It was great.
Baby, you come knocking on my front door. Same old line you used to use before. I said, hey, well, what am I supposed to do? I didn't know what I was getting into. So you had a little trouble in town, and now you're keeping some demons down. But stop dragging my heart around. It's hard to think about what you wanted. It's hard to think about what you lost. This doesn't have to be the big get even. This doesn't have to be anything at all. I know you really wanna tell me goodbye. I know you really wanna be your own girl. Baby, you could never look me in the eye. Yeah, you buckle with the weight of the words. Stop dragging my heart around. There's people running round loose in the world, and they ain't got nothing better to do than make a meal of some bright-eyed kid. You need someone looking after you. I know you really wanna tell me goodbye. I know you really wanna be your own girl. Baby, you can never look me in the eye. Yeah, you buckle with the weight of the world. Stop dragging my heart around. 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 Baby, you can never look me in the eye. Yeah, you buckle with the weight of the words. Stop dragging my heart around.
Now I've seen you play out before, and I've seen that you play guitar. Was guitar your first instrument, or do you play anything else? Or
I actually, when I was 3 years old, I started playing violin.
3?
Yeah, my mom put me in violin, and that I played all the way up until I was in high school.
Oh wow!
Yeah, So that's kind of how I got started with music. And then, of course, through high school, I picked up trumpet and played trumpet in band, and I picked up piano, and then I just pretty much my dad's a musician, so I pretty much just taught myself guitar. You know, we always had guitars laying around the house.
I got a 3-year-old, and I'm just surprised that he could walk up.
Hey, I don't know how I did it. I don't remember it, but something. I learned, and I did it, and we played a lot at the State Fair and the Governor's Mansion. We actually went over to England and played over there for 2 weeks, and yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like nobody really knows that about me, but yeah.
That
cool.
is something else.
I wish I still played. I don't really play that much anymore, but
wow,
I want to pick it back up.
Wow, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, with this vast knowledge and background of music, what would you consider your top 3 musical influences?
Oh, my top 3. Oh,
You tell me, I only have 1 or 2
oh,
or
that's
17.
a hard one. Well, obviously, Miranda Lambert. She's like my all-time favorite girl crush. I just love her songwriting and everything she does. And then actually, Stevie Nicks is another.
Oh wow! So you scored big on this one, didn't you?
I told him, I'm like, you picked it. Oh my god! And then probably this is kind of a weird one, but Eric Church. I just really, his songwriting is just amazing, and it really, his music just like speaks to me, and I just love him, love the way he performs, and been to see him a whole bunch of times, and I just think he's great. So.
Thank God she didn't say Lance Stone. Cut that out.
God.
Well, we invited you in here to play bass and sing backups. What was your first instrument that you learned how to play?
Guitar. I was a guitar player for 30 years before I picked up the bass.
Well, why did you make that transition?
Well, I was a vocal education major, singer in college, and when I came to Springfield, I started getting to know some different individuals, and one of them was Brian Curtis. And Brian was starting a band called The Ooze, and he said, I really wish we could find a bass player that could sing like you. And I was like, wow, well, who do you have playing guitar? You know, thinking I'm a guitar player. I said Frank Houston, and I said, okay, well, I can play bass. So it was, that's how I started playing bass. I listened to McCartney for 2 years straight, trying to get down his techniques and stuff that he was doing, and because I was sounding very much like a guitar player playing the bass, and then I started sounding more like a bass player playing the bass, so it's, I've heard you play bass, Greg, stop it. You can play bass just fine.
Well, it's evident when the video production comes out that you had multiple roles in this.
It was just my evil twin. He left already.
I don't know if you're evil twin. I
Yeah.
don't know if there's some triplets or
Oh yeah,
quadruplets
there's triplets in there.
But with you having multiple roles, what was the first instrument that you actually learned how to play?
Saxophone is definitely my first instrument.
Okay.
Definitely feel a lot more at home with that, because I can just, you start 4th grade, going through the band and school and everything. So that one feels the most comfortable for me. And then guitar, but I started guitar at like 19 or 20 or so. So it's been a long time with the guitar, but piano is kind of the other one. I'm like, I hope
Well,
I'm
you were
playing
brave
the
enough
right
to do
fit.
it.
Yeah, right. But yeah,
Saxophone was actually my first instrument too.
Oh really?
I-
Awesome. You still play?
No, I couldn't stand it. I stopped playing because I wanted to play the drums, and my folks were like, no.
Yep.
So
I did too, actually. I played saxophone for 3 years, and had this knockdown drag out with my mom. Like, I want to play drums so bad. I want to play drums, and she wouldn't let me switch. And thank you so much, Mom.
Yeah, I wish I had stuck with
No
it.
offense to drummers out there,
And
but
I
I'm really
hated it
glad.
so much that for my 13th birthday, I was like, you guys want to give me a birthday present, just let me quit.
Just let me quit.
And they did.
That's it, huh? Happy
Uh-huh.
birthday, Courtney.
Exactly.
I'm taking with me. Goodbye. Please don't cry, 'cause we both know that I'm not what you need. And I will always love you. I will life will treat you kind, and I hope you have all you dreamed of, and I wish to you a joy and happiness. But above all this, I wish to you love. And I
He invited you in here to play drums. Is that the first instrument that you learned how to play?
It is not. I started on piano when I was about 6 years old. I took about 6 years of that. 5th grade, I started playing trumpet in the band. Through
You're
my
a trumpet player. Chalk it up.
Who you guys play trumpet?
No, you're a singer.
Yeah.
Maddie.
That's right. Maddie did play trumpet.
Uh-huh.
I remember her playing trumpet.
Oh yeah, well, he knows all.
Yeah, I know all about Maddie. But no, I did that, and then all the way through sophomore year in high school. And my mom and dad, I told them when I was a little kid I wanted to play drums. That's what I always wanted to do. I would sit in my closet with shoe boxes and coffee cans and little number 2 lead pencils and make my little drum
Yeah, the
sets.
Quaker Oats.
Yeah, I had Quaker Oats, Folgers, you know.
Yeah.
And so I knew I always wanted to do that. And I finally, when I was about 17, I had a part-time job and I saved up enough money, bought a set and brought it home.
What was your first set?
It was called a Torador, a Japanese set. I mean, it was the lowest end of the lowest ends, and I think I paid like $120 for it. But
Wow.
you know, and then I just kept trading up and trading up,
There you go.
teaching myself and listening to everybody.
So the Torador is long gone. man.
Toradors are long gone, man. Yeah.
Who would you consider your top 3 musical influences?
Top of the list, absolutely Frank Zappa.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely at the very top. Not only compositionally, but sense of humor, lyrically, just his whole no holds barred and freedom in the music in all ways. And he just always had the best players. Just the people that have come out of under his wing have just been incredible, and they've gone on to influence a lot of people. So you got that. Oh my gosh. That's a really difficult question. We got Zappa, we've got, early on I was really into Zeppelin,
Okay.
you know, John Bonham. Absolutely. I would have to say him. And then, well, and even before that was like Arthur Fiedler and Boston Pops.
Okay.
Probably my first musical influence. There were some suites that they did and some recorded stuff my folks had around the house, and I remember just wearing them out. So, symphonic music, you know, Boston Pops, that kind of stuff. I
Wow.
was way into that.
It's all over, man. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
He's a studied man.
Yeah, I can never say that I enjoyed listening to the stuff that my parents listened to. That's cool. If you were to come back and do this again, who would you like to work with? That you haven't had the opportunity to work with?
Yeah. Probably everybody's saying Howie Freitag. 'Cause Howie's, you know, and Howie, if he sees this, his head will be going. And I played in the band with Howie years ago and just enjoyed the heck out of it. And he's just one of those amazing players. I've never played with Jeff Cunningham. He'd be fun to do a thing with like this. Sam Draper, because I admire Sam's personality and just he's a bright light, man.
Yes.
Sam's a very bright light. Like to do some playing with you.
That's Dave Courtney Leatherwood.
That would be Courtney
Master
Leatherwood.
of Science.
'Cause you just got this. You got this great natural vocal thing and thing that you got that I really like and appreciate.
Well, thank you. I appreciate hearing
Yeah,
that.
and some of the old school folks that have been around here too. Like I've never played with Joe Cook, hell of a guitar player.
Yes.
You know, I've sat in and done some stuff, but I've never actually played with Joe. Oh man, I could probably sit here and think of a long list. It was fun playing with Dave Littrell because I've seen Dave for a long time, and it was fun to finally, you know,
Yes.
do some playing with him. He was a
Right.
really cool dude. That was excellent.
That's cool.
If I had time to sit here and think, I could think of a lot of different people. I'm sure.
I bet you would.
Yeah.
I'll let you off the hook.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming in
Thanks
and
for
doing
having
this
me.
for us.
I had a
man.
really great time. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoyed it, man.
Outstanding.
All right.
Very cool. Very cool.
It was a fun
That's where we're at.
Cool.
Is it off?
Get a drink.